Friday vlog. How did I do? Camera tweak. I've been messing with messing with the color profiles on the camera. A lot of people like natural for video. I've had a lot of people do natural and then they bump up contrast, saturation, and sharpness by 2, so it's +2, +2, +2, and then 0 noise reduction. So I tried. I think I liked standard better because it seems more like the Canons. It's a lot more red. So that's what I've been using. But now I'm trying natural, and I kind of think I like natural. The big thing is I don't want to have to color grade these vlogs, and and if I put it in a more desaturated profile, then I have to color grade, and it just sucks. And I shoot on iMovie, and color grading on iMovie is, you can't do a whole lot. So we're trying it. I also shot BTS last week, and I saw a lot of I had the JPEGs in standard with +2, +2, +2. So sort of the Canon style profile that I was doing, and I think they look really, really good. I haven't gone to actually post-process the raw files to actually make them look like I want to look, but the JPEGs out of the camera look really, really accurate to what I want. So that's kind of good. So hopefully this natural profile that I'm trying looks even better. So, did I write this week? No. And it's not for lack of trying. I sat down several times to try to write, and after about the third day of I won't call it a writer's block because I think that's a gross oversimplification of what that experience is. But I figured out that my problem was we're trying to lock the cut for my thesis today, actually. And so all my brain power is into that, even though I'm not physically handling the material right now. So even though I really tried really hard to rewrite my feature script, I couldn't get into it because my attention, even unconsciously, is on my thesis and making sure we can get the locked cut. And specifically the mental energy of going sort of frame by frame, second by second, of cleaning it up, it has replaced my brain energy to go through a script and critically work with it. So no, didn't write. And I forgave myself for it. So, did I read this week? Nope. We didn't have class, and so I didn't even really have that on me either. Because usually the class I have to read 2 or 3 scripts. Didn't have that today, or this week, so. What did I watch? A ton of stuff. Let me read the list. The one thing though is a couple people keep telling me I need to stay on for Final Space, even though I don't. I've been not super enthusiastic about it. I'm caught up, and it made a huge plot turn that I really liked, and I think I'm invested in it. I think I care about this show. It was really a really cool plot turn that made me want to stay involved. So I guess they're playing the long game, because it took 6 episodes for something that I considered worth it to happen, and now I'm invested. In addition to that, I started watching Love season 3. I like Love. It's not, I never considered it like an incredible show, but I like it. I think it's an interesting story, an interesting sort of take on relationships, and frighteningly similar to sort of my understanding of relationships. And I watched 2 episodes of season 3, and then I ended up watching the other 10. So I blasted through it, and now I'm going back through season 1, and I realized that nothing happens in season 1. Like, they don't, in 10 episodes, very little takes place, whereas season 3, stuff actually happens. So if you haven't watched Love, I would say don't bother with season 1. Maybe don't bother with season 2 initially. Just watch season 3. At the beginning of season 3, there's a recap to catch you up, and then you're in it. And it's really, I was really impressed by the sort of storytelling and relationship, all the minutia of relationships. I think they got them really accurate to my experience. So, and it's funny. It's incredibly tragic, but it's also very funny. Also watched the Pacific Rim sequel, Pacific Rim Uprising. Was a huge fan of the first Pacific Rim, even though it has deep story flaws. I knew this one was going to be not the same because Guillermo del Toro dropped out and almost all the cast dropped out. It's a blockbuster action movie. I mean, that's the nicest thing I could say about it. Yeah. I wouldn't put it in the same ballpark as something like San Andreas or the upcoming Rampage movie that's coming out, made by the same people, but it's pretty close to that, and not for me. So it's as tough to make a good movie as it is a bad movie. I watched Game Over Man on Netflix. I was really excited about it because it's the Workaholics guys, who I like a lot, and their initial trailer where they're singing Shaggy is maybe my favorite trailer of all time. I thought it was hilarious. Watched the movie, and I can't recommend it. It's just it seemed a bit of an empty vessel. So, which is too bad, because a lot of those guys and a lot of the stuff they make I really, really enjoy. I would argue Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, where Adam Devine is in it, is possibly one of the best comedies last year, or whatever year it was, the year before. This movie was not that, unfortunately. So, I think that's all I watched. I mean, that's a lot. I watched a lot. Yeah. Writing tip. Yeah. Show your work. That's my writing tip. In the context of what I am relating to, we're locking our TV pilot that we shot, and I sent it out to people who are not writers. Finally, I usually tend to hold off. I do this with scripts, but I do this with everything. I have a couple people I really trust to watch or read my really, really rough stuff, just to see if I'm on the right page, and they're usually writers, they're usually filmmakers, and then the polished version that deserves to be critiqued I give to whoever wants it. But when you're in a final situation, like a locked cut, like you're about to lock your cut, or when you're about to give your script to the competition or a festival or an agent or a manager or a producer, I make a point to give it to people who don't work in the industry, who are just random people that I know, because they're in theory the audience. They're the people that are meant to interact and be part of the story. And if they don't get it, then it's all for nothing. Like, it's sort of the logic of the reason why a lot of TV shows about TV shows I find are awesome but don't really work in the rest of the country, is because it's such a narrow sort of fraternity of people. You gotta show it to people. You gotta show your work, even if it's not meant for the broad audience. Send it to somebody who might be the broad audience, because you never know what you're going to get out of it in response. I think we did okay with the fine cut. Honestly, I think we did really, really well. So we did what we set out to do. But yeah, the point is you gotta show off your work. You gotta, in the narrow sense, for moving forward reasons, you have to be giving it to people almost more than you're comfortable with. But also in a broader sense, there's no point in being bashful about your work. The work is supposed to stand for itself, speak for itself, and if it doesn't, then that's a problem. So this idea could snowball into a lot of things, but it basically is ego, like checking your ego. You should, if you want to work, you should be prepared to give your work to people, and you should be prepared to get responses that are not necessarily positive responses. That's the system in place. That's the only way you're going to get better. That's the only way you're going to get anywhere. So, there's no point in having a drawer full of scripts that you wrote that nobody's allowed to see, unless you really just don't want to work. But at the same token, take the criticism. So I tend to be accused, and I kind of agree, of going a little too far with showing people my stuff. Not in a they didn't want it and I'm forcing it on them kind of way, because definitely don't do that, and that's just an early mistake that we all make, myself included. But I tend to ask everybody about something I'm working on, and I there's an argument to be made for that's because I just don't know what I'm doing, and I'm afraid to make decisions. But more importantly, I really want to keep checking to make sure what I set out to do is working. And the only way to do that is to get as many people to look at it as possible. So give your work to people. Make sure your work is a level of finished that you're okay with giving it to somebody. And if it's not, then dear God, don't give it to somebody. But when you're ready to give it to somebody, give it to somebody and expect that when they come back, they're not going to say, it's perfect, good job. But that doesn't mean you failed. That just means they read it and they're invested in it and they're taking it seriously. So, box office. I sucked. It's that I Can Only Imagine movie, that Christian rock song again, just got me. So I said Pacific Rim, Black Panther, Sherlock Gnomes, I Can Only Imagine, and Tomb Raider, and I got Pacific Rim, Black Panther, and then Tomb Raider. I Can Only Imagine got third, and I thought it was going to be fourth. So, whoops. Sorry, God. This week, coming out, it's going to be Ready Player One. Like, there's no way it's not. I hope it's as good as it's hyped to be. I didn't read the source material, but I heard the source material was great. It's supposed to be good. I don't know how I feel about it, because there are certain aspects of what I saw in the trailer that it's not for me, but I hope it's good. It seems like it's going to do pretty well. So I'm going to say Ready Player One, Acrimony, which is the Tyler Perry drama, which I think I've mentioned before. Tyler Perry fans they see whatever Tyler Perry has to offer. So it's going to do quite well on probably a teeny tiny budget. So Ready Player One, Acrimony, then Black Panther, Pacific Rim, and I Can Only Imagine. That's what I think. Anything else? I've lost my sense of humor today. I think it's just because I know I should be writing and I can't make myself do it, and I'm sort of beating myself up for it. So, and we're locking our cut. So keep going. Some days are better than others. Bye.